I'm live? Wow. I haven't gone live on YouTube in a little while. I don't know why. I forgot that you can do it on mobile, so I just think this is the coolest thing ever, that you can just kind of pop on YouTube instead of just the other social platforms. So I just got done with working out. I started working out with a trainer, as you guys know. And I cannot even begin to tell you how it has helped so much in my life. And I was just driving home right now, and I had kind of my radio is broken in my car, so it's probably the easiest fix ever. It's not even something expensive to fix, but for whatever reason I haven't gotten it fixed. And in a way that's been helpful. Hi guys. Because I've had a chance to just be still for a second. And in LA, I think that life is so fast-paced anyway that it's interesting for me to almost have it just be very a time to just be quiet and just kind of think and have my little moment. So I think that, of course, after working out, your endorphins are boosted, of course, so I think that's another reason why I have this sudden I don't know. I mean, it could be multiple things. I'm also on my period, but that has nothing to do with, I'm a pretty emotional person, and I think I've been reading this book from Eckhart Tolle called The Power of Now, and a philosophy that he kind of tries to pass forward is just practicing being mindful. And what that means to me, and what I'm gathering, is just taking a second, because I think we all live in we're always rushed, we're always busy, we're always going to the next thing, and we don't ever live in right now. We're either worrying about the past and what happened and what we could have done differently, or we're worrying about what we're going to do different in the future, or what is coming next, or I have this next meeting, or I have this next, and it becomes this constant voice in your head that is playing back, right? You guys have, your internal almost voice, right, in your head speaking to you, like almost like this internal monologue, And so his philosophy is just to really live in now, right now. Right now is the most important moment. So I say this because I got out of the gym, and man, it killed me today, you guys. For whatever reason, I was really struggling. I had to run to the bathroom, and I threw up a little bit. It was just water, but I had maybe like this much coffee. I didn't even have that much, just like this much coffee, but on an empty stomach. So I think that's what it was, and also being on my period. So I think there was a couple different factors, but typically I'm okay with working out with him. I don't know if you guys know this, just a side note. I do have a disorder. It's just the trait. Don't worry, I'm okay. But I do have sickle cell anemia trait. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but it's basically where your white blood cells are shaped. They're like deformed almost, and so they have a hard time. So when you're overexerting your body, sometimes they can get clogged. Now, I only have the trait. I'm going to say that again. If I had the full-blown disease, most people die. So I don't have the full-blown disease. I do have the trait that was passed down from my dad, so my brother and I both have it. So I have to be really careful when I work out. And my trainer is aware of this, and he's awesome because he's making sure to, keep pushing me, but not too much. So anyways, had a good workout. It was really hard for me. Got out, and there's a Whole Foods right around the corner. So I went into Whole Foods, and I'm just, minding my business. I have my little cart, and I'm grabbing some groceries and stuff like that. And so one gentleman, I'm wearing this shirt that says "The Force is Female." And I got this from Amy Pham's YouTube launch party. If you guys don't know who Amy Pham is, you should go and follow her. She just launched a YouTube channel, and she's amazing. And anyway, so I got this shirt, and so, because she's with Maker, so if you guys saw my engagement video, she's the blonde Asian, that, beautiful. She is the one who tricked me, and I thought I was filming a lookbook, but then she, surprised me, meaning she was the one who was, luring me into my engagement. And so, anyways, with that said, that was with Maker. So Maker, works with Disney, so that's why this is like a Star Wars shirt. The Force is female, get it? Like the Force. So this guy comes up and he says like, hello. He's like, hey, is that like a Star Wars reference? And he's like this nice gentleman in a suit. I was in a nicer area in Brentwood in LA. And so we just start chatting and we're talking about, he's like, oh yeah. I said, oh yeah, I used to work with a company that works really closely, well, that Disney bought, and blah, blah, blah. So it's just a conversation. I don't need to get into the whole conversation. The point being is that it was just a simple conversation. I was like, oh yeah. And we chatted for maybe I'd say 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. And he was like, yeah, asking me about what I do. Oh, that's cool. Connecting for connection's sake. So that's what I titled this video, because I think a lot of times we're always just going into, meaning I wasn't in a rush. Here I am, obviously I'm at home. I just got home. I'm sitting here in my car making this video, because I'm not in a big rush, so I thought it was, it wasn't like he was hitting on me. It was a completely normal conversation. We were just connecting. And I am that type of person. When I take Ubers, when I go to the cashier, I just make small talk. I'm just that type of person. I really like to talk to people. I feel like I have a very good grasp on just being in the moment, right? So I'm reading this book and I'm thinking, yes. And it's a very lonely place to be a lot of the time, because I feel like not everybody operates their life in that way. But how cool would it be if we all did? So this is the thing I want to post to you. So after that conversation, he walked away. It's not like he was asking nothing, and he was like charming guy. I mean, it was nothing like that, right? He just was like, oh yeah, cool. My name's Mark. Cool. See ya. And he walked on. And then I'm grabbing for something else, and one of the workers at Whole Foods, this nice Mexican guy, he had like full sleeves of tattoos. He's like, I was like, do you have Israeli couscous? Because a friend of mine made Israeli couscous for me the other night, and it was really good. And so he pointed me in the right direction, which was in that same aisle. And he's like, yeah, that's true, by the way, what your shirt says. And I was like, oh, I know, right? The Force is female, whatever. That was it. And then he comes back over and he's like, yeah, so, or I said something like, yeah, I'm trying to eat healthier, because he was showing me the couscous. And he's like, yeah, actually, that's really good. I was like, oh, yeah, do you eat healthy? And he's like, he was Mexican. I'm Mexican. So I was like, oh, well, I prefer to eat tacos every day. Like, literally, I could eat tacos every single day and not get tired of them. So we were laughing. We were talking about how our moms cook, and we just started going from there. And he's like, oh, do you speak Spanish? I said, no. And I was explaining the reason why I don't speak Spanish. Again, connecting for connection's sake, right? So the conversation continued. Now, mind you, this guy is a Mexican guy full of tattoos working in Brentwood at Whole Foods. So he was a little taken back that I continued to talk to him, to be honest. And I could sense his hesitation. And as I'm kind of walking away, or meaning not walking away, but ending, the conversation was kind of coming to a close, he said, thank you. Thank you for chatting with me. He goes, there's something in you that's really special, and I appreciate you just chatting. It was literally a 5-minute conversation. And I was really taken back that he thought it was special that I even acknowledged him. Does that make sense? It breaks my heart in a way, and I looked at him and I said, he's like, because girls that normally come in here don't even make eye contact with me. And he's like, and so, he's like, it was just nice to chat. And we found so much common ground, right? That we're both Hispanic and whatever. And, he was like, yeah, most girls come in here and they just, don't even make eye contact and just don't even want to be bothered. And I said, you know what? I said, that's ridiculous. And I said, people can be really shallow. I'm sorry. And I said, wherever we end up, because I think it's always going to look different, right, than we all think. To me, I believe in heaven. I don't know what that's going to look like. We all don't. It's kind of one of the greatest mysteries, right? So I said, wherever we end up, I think that we'll run into each other again, and we'll kind of give a wave and be like, hey, remember when we chatted at Whole Foods? And I'm like, that's the way. If everyone could connect for connection's sake. Of course, that's not the easiest thing to do. there could be different situations where, of course, that is not the easiest thing for whatever the reason, of course, you know. Safety, especially as a female, you've got to be careful. You can't be that friendly with all men because that can get a little weird. And I'm very, very aware of when energy is good and when it's pure and when it's not. But it was just another just nice conversation. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Nice to meet you. You know, I'll see you next time. And that was it. And so I sat in my car, you know, and I left. And then I was just driving, and again, not in a rush. And another interesting thing to do is just when you're not in a rush and you're kind of, whether you're walking somewhere, even if you are in a rush, just take some time to be mindful and just observe. I really pride myself in being an observer. I love to just watch. I think I am my father's daughter. Obviously my dad's a magician and a very talented one to boot. And so I've kind of grown up always being the observer, because when my dad is doing magic and it's like, look at the other hand, he's obviously doing magic, right? So you always got to look at the other hand. So I've grown up watching magic, and I realize now at 30 how that's really impacted how I observe the world, really. In the weirdest instances, but I'm not even kidding, when people are talking and they don't think that I'm like paying attention, I'm paying attention. Or when things are like being slipped, you know what I mean? Like I've watched it just in my life. I'm 30, you guys, so I've seen some weird stuff. Whether it's like drugs being passed, I'm just saying. I've seen stuff happen where people don't think that I see things, and I'm like, yeah, I just saw what you did there. Or whatever, you know what I mean? Just little things. I just notice, and I think it is because I grew up with always trying to think 10 steps ahead of a magician. Does that make sense? I know that sounds weird, but anyway, so I'm an observer. I'm naturally an observer. In any room, I'm always kind of like looking at people's energies. I really have a love for psychology too, and so I'm always like thinking like, why are they behaving that way? Why do they feel that way? Why this? I'm just kind of an introspective person, maybe. So I'm driving, and I was just kind of like looking around. It was a beautiful neighborhood in Brentwood, and I'm just observing the neighborhood. I'm looking around, and I challenged myself. I said, okay, I want to find, because we live in a hard time, you guys, and everybody is just really angry and misunderstood. I'm trying to think of the best words. I mean, obviously, we all just have our own reasons, right? So I was like, I'm going to challenge myself to just find beauty in everything on my drive home. So if you challenge yourself to do that, right? So I'm like driving, and I just saw the most beautiful home. There was this home, and they had this cool table out, and like all these cool little succulents. Of course, I love succulents. And I was like, oh, that's such a beautiful home. And then I looked over to my right, and there was, you know, this woman, a male woman, and I was like, and she's smiling, and I was like, that's so cool. She loves her job. And then I'm driving, and I see this really cool girl with a short haircut and these really cool Doc Martens, like floral Doc Martens, and she's also smiling, and she's walking. And then I was just kind of looking at people at Starbucks, and I was just watching a husband and wife, you know, and then as I was driving home, just continuing to observe different things. I'm not even kidding, you guys. I couldn't take it in fast enough. Literally, like, I was literally looking around and just finding the coolest things. Random things. I'm talking like, what else did I see? I saw like, really, when you're challenging yourself to be observant and just be mindful, you're seeing many things. So your eyes are taking in, you know, thousands of different objects, right? But it's just cool to watch. And then I wonder, I'm like, I wonder what they're talking about. Maybe they're talking about like what they're going to do for Mother's Day. Or maybe they're planning their next vacation. Or, you know what I mean? And I just kind of like let my mind just wander. Am I a weirdo? Like, I honestly, this is why I feel like lonely in this, because I feel like not a lot of people think this way. I don't know. But I found the coolest things on my drive home right now, and I wanted to share. And I don't get on YouTube that often and do live, so those of you that are watching, thank you. I'm going to read all your comments here in a second, but I do jump on Instagram live all the time, but I think this is probably better. What do you guys think? I should probably, because this can live on my channel, so I feel like Instagram deletes and then it's not worth it, because I've been doing a lot more conversations like this on Instagram, but not on here, so I think it probably would make more sense for me to do it here. What do you guys think? These are just random thoughts from my car. I'll leave you guys with this other random thought. It's easy to kind of, again, be lost in your myopic view of what's happening in your life, right? I mean, I've got a lot of shit going on right now, you guys. Like, you guys kind of know. You have vague ideas of what that is, but it's a lot. And so I've been challenging myself to just have better thinking, right? So there's little things that will bother me. Like, I have this Nissan Sentra. It's a perfectly working car. There's nothing wrong with this car. It's like a 2011. I drove it off the lot. I have never bought my own car. I mean, I have, but I had never got my own car. I've bought all my own cars, by the way. No, but I have never driven a car off the lot. So this is the first car that I drove off the lot when I very first started my YouTube channel. And there's dings all over it. When you move to LA, you kind of just have to get ready for having a city car. I mean, when you're parallel parking and this and that and this and that, it's just like really hard to keep your car without any scratches or anything. And I've hit, when you're getting out of someone's garage and you hit it's just the worst. So this car has many dings and stuff, and it bothers me sometimes. And I get really lost in thinking, I need to have a nicer car. Why am I driving a Nissan Sentra? This is such a mom car. And that narrative, remember, like we talked about earlier, that narrative starts playing in your head, and you just start like letting it really eat at you. And I'm like, yeah, I need to get a new car. I don't like this car. I hate this car. That's how letting it continue. Not only do I not like this car, now I was saying things like, I hate this car. Why do I hate this car? There's nothing wrong with this car. It works fantastic. I don't have any problems with the car. It could stand an oil change, that's for sure. But it's a perfectly fine car. My radio's broken. I need to fix that. But little thing, and so I was pulling in after I had been mindful, right? Here's what's cool. Here's full circle. I had been mindful. I noticed this man giving this homeless guy money. It was so cool to see, like right in front. If I had cash, I probably would have as well. I didn't have any cash on me. But just even observing other humans being good to other humans, that was beautiful to me. And it was moving me to tears, guys. I was literally driving home and I was getting emotional because I was like, wow, the world is so beautiful. There are so many individuals walking around that have their own little separate lives, that have things to be excited about, things to look forward to, all of these things. I mean, obviously we're not all going to be able to connect, hopefully one day, right? But it's just cool if you can just pause for 1 second and you can be mindful and just think of the rest of the world. I mean, we are so fortunate. I guarantee that most of you are not struggling for clean water, but there's people that don't even have the ability to dream, you guys. So for those of us that are fortunate enough to even have the ability to dream, we're 10 steps ahead, and the universe has chosen you, whoever's watching, to step into all that you're called to do, because there's people that can't even afford to dream. They dream of dreaming. Think of that. Because their mind doesn't even have the ability to dream of all of the possibilities for what they could bring to the world or do in their lives that makes them excited. They're thinking about how they can get clean water. So when things get rough, it's easy to just be like, oh my gosh, and complain and this and that. That energy really affects me a lot. So I have to be careful to not hang out with people that live in that, because it really affects my heart. Like, I can't be around people that complain a lot. It's like cancer to me, literally. Like, it makes my whole insides just kind of like, ugh. So I think a lot of people I don't connect really well with certain people. a lot of people in this industry I have a hard time connecting with, only because I just feel like there's bad attitudes walking around everywhere, and it really frustrates me. So I have this guard up because I'm like, you're not on my level, which can come off as arrogant, and it's not meant to be. It's just that I just hear and observe a lot of things, and I'm like, there's better ways to look at that. But it's not about being arrogant. It's just about being mindful, maybe. So anyways, the full circle thing is that I was driving up to my garage and I was like, I'm about to flip on my camera and make a YouTube video in my car that supposedly I hate, but this is one of my most favorite places to sit. I sit in this, I park here, because usually I'm not in a major rush, so I'll just sit here. Not with a camera on, typically. I'll just sit in my car for a while. And I just kind of enjoy. There's this beautiful, let me show you guys the other view. This is my view. Let's see, can I flip it? So this is my view. Just this cool little wall full of leaves. It's nothing like exciting, but there's like a little palm tree up there, but I just sit here and I kind of just, sometimes I'll be on Instagram, sometimes I'll whatever. I've done a few different Instagram lives here before, but I think it's just, and then I was like, I love my car. This is my favorite place to sit. So these are just some random thoughts in my head. I've already been chatting for 20 minutes. I'm going to leave this here, but I just wanted to share my heart with you guys, and trust me, even just now, I got some cool text messages. I'm working on something big, and I'm working on something that's stretching me that I cannot wait to share with you guys. Look forward to that. I'm really, really in a place where I'm ready to share all of who I am and all of my story with you guys, because I haven't, but it's time. And this is my year to break free, and I just thank you guys so much for always being so lovely and sending me so much positive feedback, and I'm so grateful for all of you. Truly, truly, truly. You have no idea. I read every single one of your comments. Again, I'm not the best at responding to all of them, but I read them, and it's like water to my soul, really. So thank you guys, and I look forward to kind of bringing you into a lot more ideas like this that I think are important, that I would like to share, because I know that God has me on this platform for a reason, and there's a lot more where this came from. Just know that. So these are the things that keep me up at night. But I love you guys, and I hope that you have the most wonderful day. I challenge each of you to find 10 things whether you're walking from your car home, or from work to your car, in the mall, down the street, wherever. Today, I challenge you to just go outside, be mindful, have a connection for connection's sake, whether it's at the grocery store, the gas station, whatever. Again, be careful. You don't have to go too far, but you guys get it. You guys are so smart and so wonderful. I love you guys, and I'll be talking to you soon. See you guys later.